Hey guys, it's your girl Miss V. I'm back. It's been a hot minute. It's been a while. I needed to take a break since my last video. I went on a bit of an emotional sabbatical and I'm glad I did. That's exactly what I needed to do. And in as much as I want to come back and be able to tell you that I'm going to be producing content and making videos every week or every other week, in all honesty, I can't. I can't promise that right now because there's just other stuff I need to juggle. Yeah, that's just being an adult, I guess. When I can, when I feel that I have the time and the energy to share, I will. So I'll start with this one story that I really want to share. So there've been a handful of moments in my life when I've had what I call a God moment. And this is just basically when I meet someone or my path, intersects with someone else's and we have a discussion that is relevant to whatever is happening in my life at that point in time. And I've had a couple of these where I meet someone and it's literally a God-sent moment. And I know for a fact that was a word for me. That was a word in season. And I suppose it's kind of like something to encourage me along the path of life and to encourage me with, the plans that I believe God has for my life. Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans that I have for you to give you a hope and to give you a future. I've had a couple of these. And today I had another God moment. It was really, really unexpected, as they always are. So for those of you who know me, you will know that I teach English online, which means I am meeting people from all over the world almost every day. China, Japan, Chile, Argentina, Brazil, Spain, Italy, France, Ecuador, etc., etc., etc. And a lot of times when I'm not actually teaching the content on the platform, I'm having conversations with my students, and I never know what we're going to talk about, right, until we actually get started with talking. So today I had such a beautiful encounter, another God moment, with a student from Brazil. And before I share, what we spoke about, just as a disclaimer, I did ask if I can share the story. So it's really, it really encouraged me and it felt very touching. And the reason why I am sharing the story with you all today is because I believe that it will encourage someone else. Okay, so this is basically a story about faith loss and gratitude. I'll not only share what he shared with me, but I'll also share what I think are the key takeaways and the key lessons from this story. Yeah. So as I speak, I'm going to be looking slightly to the side because I am reading off the notes on my screen. So just bear with me. Yeah. Okay. So my student from Brazil, he shared this beautiful story with me, and it goes like this. In 2018, he and his wife wanted to have a baby. And they decided that they would start their family once they were financially stable. So, they started trying. In January 2018, she fell pregnant and everything started going well. Everything was going well according to plan up until May. In May, they went for one of their regular ultrasound checks to check if everything was okay with the baby. And that's when the doctors noticed that the baby had serious knee problems in both legs. And they said that it would be impossible for the baby to survive. At that point, things took a turn. But even then, they never asked God why their plan wasn't working out the way they had hoped. They chose to believe that there was something God was trying to teach them during that moment. And he said they never asked God, why is this happening? This is supposed to be the perfect moment. We're supposed to be having our baby. Why? Which is something that's natural, something that's human that we tend to do. I know I definitely do that sometimes, when things are not going the way that I had planned, or the way that I had intended for them to, or the way that I'd hoped for them to. Sometimes I get stuck, in a cycle of asking God, why me? Why me? But anyway, I digress. Let me go back to the story. Yeah. So, they lost their baby in November 2018. And after that, his wife suffered from depression, and it was a terrible time for them, and she needed time to recover from the loss. Then in 2020, COVID began, and they both agreed that it was the right time to try again. It wasn't the right time to try again because COVID. In 2022, they decided to try once more. They felt that the time was running out biologically. She was 37 at that time. She then got pregnant again, and now, fast forwarding, they have a little boy who is 2.5 years old. During the pregnancy, they faced many challenges, but they learned something powerful. No matter what happens, we need to stay close to God and stop asking why, and instead pray for our plans to be aligned with His. When he mentioned this really spoke to me because since the beginning of the year, one of the things that I've been praying about, and one of the things that's been on my mind a lot, has been alignment. Alignment, 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 alignment. There are all these things that, I wish for, all these things that I desire, all these things that I want. But if each of these things are not in alignment with the plan and the will of God in my life, then, when I'm not really making any progress, right? And the key thing for me is to be in alignment with the will of God for my life. It's one of the things that I pray about a lot these days, and it's one of the things that I am actively seeking, alignment. I'll put it on the screen somewhere, but I don't know the exact words, but there is a verse in the Bible that says, many are the plans in a man's heart, but it is the Lord who determines or who directs his steps. Yeah? And that for me speaks to alignment. Let my steps be directed, let my steps be guided by the plan and the will of God for my life. That's the most important thing. It's not always, and it shouldn't always be about self. It's not always about me. There's more to me and more to my life than what I want for myself. Okay? Again, I digress. So then he goes on to say, we're human, and it's normal to feel like we're going through big problems, but when we talk to others, we often realize that everyone has their own struggles. One of his friends, for example, found out that his mother had cancer. It reminded them that it's natural to feel frustrated or to want to complain, but we also need to learn how to be thankful and stop questioning God all the time. And I'll interject a little bit here. This is a story time for another day, but I'll speak a little bit about it here. I went hiking about 2 weekends ago. Yeah, I went hiking I went to Chimanimani with the Afro Nomads group, and it was amazing. And I have so much to say and so much to share about that experience, which I will. But the main thing that I want to point out as it relates to this story that my student shared with me is that it's important to not always complain, right? You'll be frustrated, you'll be tired, you'll be sad, you'll be feeling all sorts of things. But there's a time when it's good to not complain and focus on the task and the purpose ahead. Yeah? While I was in the mountains, this was actually like the longest hike I've ever done. We started the hike at about 9:30 a.m. And I was one of the slower ones, and eventually we left, or we exited the mountains at about 9 in the evening. So literally we were walking in the mountains all day from AM to PM. I did Table Mountain once in Cape Town in my early 20s, and I thought that was hectic. That was a 4-hour hike. That was nothing. Like, that was nothing compared to Chimani Mani. Okay, but anyway, the point that I'm just trying to highlight is that at some point, my body was sore. I was tired. I was weak. I was frustrated. And I wanted to complain, but I also just realized that complaining wasn't going to help. Especially when I literally just wanted to get out of the mountains. I was just like, I need to get out of here. I just want to not be here. Like, I want this thing to be over. And complaining and, moaning about and just, whining around, like, that just doesn't help. That doesn't help. And I decided to just keep quiet. I almost cried at some point, but I didn't. They say almost doesn't count. Thanks, Brandy. So yeah, there are times when it's good to just refrain from complaining and focus on the task at hand. Yeah. Yeah, the last thing that he said is there's always someone out there going through something even more difficult. We have to realize that we all have problems and we all have challenges, but it's our prerogative to trust in God. Trust God, trust the process. It's very easy to say these things, but it's another thing to actually trust the process. It's another thing. It's one thing to say, trust God, but it's another thing to actually trust God. We really have to learn to trust the process. We have to trust the plan and the purpose and the will of God for our lives. Yeah. Also, we should be grateful. One of the things that he mentioned is that no matter what we're going through, we must always be grateful and not compare our lives to the lives of others, and learn to be content. Also learn to stay aligned, learn to be in alignment with God's plan for your life, and be thankful. Be thankful for the opportunities he gives you. Yeah. And while I was hiking, again, something else that really stood out for me was, we always say God is God on the mountaintop and he's God in the valley. I was actually at the mountain. I was actually on the mountaintop, and I was actually in the valley. And for me, it really just brought life to that expression that God is God on the mountaintop. God is God in the valley. God is God no matter what we're going through in every season of our lives. Yeah. So yeah, those are the key things that I wanted to point out. Now, in other words, just to rehash, just to go through the key lessons again, I'm sure there are other things that I didn't mention. I'm going to go through them one by one. There's 7 specific points that I want to highlight. Okay, some of these things I'm going to repeat because I kind of said them already, but it doesn't really matter. So, key lessons. Number 1, trust in God's plan, even when it hurts. When their baby was diagnosed with a fatal condition, they didn't ask God, why? Why us? Instead of turning away in anger or confusion, they chose to believe that God was teaching them something through the experience. Lesson. Even when life doesn't go as planned, choose faith over frustration. Sometimes the why won't be revealed immediately. Again, even when life doesn't go as planned, choose faith over frustration. Sometimes the why won't be revealed immediately. Number 2, stop asking why. Start seeking alignment. After their loss, and again during a complicated second pregnancy, they learned to stop asking why and began praying for their plans to align with God's will. Lesson? The focus shifted from trying to understand God's reasoning to trusting that his plan has a purpose, even if it wasn't clear at that moment. Number 3, be grateful through every season. Despite going through loss, depression, and delay, they learned to remain grateful. Their second child, born after years of waiting and trials, was a blessing that arrived in God's perfect timing. Lesson: gratitude should not depend on circumstances. It should be rooted in faith. Number 4, everyone faces battles. Don't compare the story highlights Don't compare. The story highlights a moment when one of their life's friends, I don't know what I'm saying, but I'll say it again. Everyone faces battles. Don't compare. The story highlights a moment when one of their friends learned his mother had cancer. That made them realize others also carry heavy burdens. Lesson: comparison is not only unfair, it's misleading. Everyone's journey is unique, and someone else's pain doesn't lessen your own, but it puts things in perspective. Number 5, healing takes time, and that's okay. After the miscarriage, his wife experienced depression and needed time to heal emotionally and spiritually. Lesson: there is no shame in needing time to recover. Healing is part of the journey and can deepen faith if we allow God to walk with us through it. That really struck a chord. If you know my story, those of you who know my story, you'll understand why this particular reflection point, why this particular lesson strikes a chord with me. And it really, really, it really resonates with me. And one of the reasons why I said this was a God moment for me. Number 6, faith means waiting, sometimes for years. Hey? From 2018 to 2022, they waited to try again. Their story shows patience and surrender during seasons of waiting, uncertainty, and loss. Lesson: waiting is not wasted time when done with faith. God's timing is always, always, always better than our own. And number 7, the final message or the final lesson. Spiritual maturity means trusting, not questioning. The recurring theme is spiritual maturity, trusting God not only in the victories, but in the valleys. God is the same God on the mountaintop as he is in the valleys. Listen, real spiritual growth happens when we stop demanding answers and start walking in trust and obedience. So, the core message or the main thing that I want to leave you all with today is this. We don't always get to understand God's timing or reasons, but we are always invited to trust him. Learn to align your plans with his. Be grateful in every season and know that even your pain has a purpose. I'll read that again and let it sink in, let it soak. We don't always get to understand God's timing or reasons, but we're always invited to trust him. Learn to align your plans with his. Be grateful in every season and know that even your pain has a purpose. So this is my first faith story time, and be blessed. Be blessed. I hope you learned something from it. I hope it's of value even to just one person. So I thought it's something that's worth sharing. And so here am I. I don't know why I like saying that. I like saying here am I instead of here I am. So here am I. Here am I. Be blessed. Take care. Till next time. Ciao.